But
that's more than a push.
Yeah, no, I don't know. It just pushes us in the right direction. That's how it is. We are getting close. Everybody has to feel us, has to know we are still around. It was not the case for a while, and now tonight we really was a proper show of what we could be and what we can be, and that's what we have to be from now on. And we don't talk about the scoreline; we just talk about the performance.
How do you react after something like this? This is the biggest defeat that Liverpool have ever inflicted upon Manchester United.
I'm angry, especially for our fans. We let them down, but also as a squad, as a team, you can't allow this. You have to stick together, and you have to fight with each other. You have to support each other, and you have to defend. And that is what we didn't do. So for me, it's really unprofessional.
Yes, an extraordinary result in the Premier League, one which Liverpool fans around the world will never, ever forget. But from a Manchester United point of view, it's just the third defeat in 33 games. The post-mortem has been going on ever since the full-time whistle. With that second half, what happened to Manchester United in that second half?
They capitulated. They stopped working for each other. We've seen it before. We've seen that they can, when they do concede goals, they just totally fall apart. And that's what happened in this game. They stopped working. I think you have to give credit to Liverpool, because Liverpool, with the energy, you know, with Bajcetic, Elliot and Harvey Elliott with those legs. Then you got Darwin Núñez, you got Gakpo, you got Mo Salah looking like he's back to it. It was Liverpool from a couple of years ago when they were at their pomp in that second half, and Man United did not match that at all. They didn't get close enough. They didn't do anything. It was brilliant from Liverpool and terrible from United.
Yeah, we heard Ten Hag say quite a few things about his team. Unprofessional, not tracking back. We're going to have a couple of clips here as well about them doing all those things. We've been looking at the Manchester United team. Of course, Liverpool were very, very good on the day, but Manchester United could have helped themselves. And when we look at situations like this, you know, you've got Anthony on Gakpo here in this situation, and really, Wrighty, it's not that bad a situation from Manchester United. You know, look at that, it's 4-3-3 if anything, but if we just play it on another few seconds, just take a look at Anthony, take a look at Gakpo, and all of a sudden there's 30 yards between them.
And then you look at him
walking.
Here. You know, he's walking. You know, you look where they are now, and like we're saying, like, he could have made that situation a 4-4. He could have made it. He could have delayed. He could have done a lot there, but again, he just gave up.
This is an interesting one, right here. Just draw your attention here to Fernandes.
Yeah, he got a lot.
Let's have a look at him. I mean, maybe there's a case for a penalty, maybe.
Yeah,
but regardless, the reaction is something that you just can't condone.
This is the thing, Michael. You don't get them. And sometimes, you know, you go to Anfield and you think you're going to get stopped, you don't get it. But if you look at his reaction now, he's having a word with Alisson, he's arguing with him. Look at him. Look where he is.
Look where the ball is.
Look where the ball is. You know, you look at him, he's going to come in. I'm thinking, get yourself back in over here. Because, look, that's where the ball is. Get in there, so just in case you win it. He's coming over here to speak to Rashford, to have some form of whinge. Like, he's whinging. Rashford's saying, listen, get on with the game. Look, you know, and he's still, now he's going to have a go. This is the captain. This is the guy who's meant to be leading by example. And you look how he's acting. It's really, honestly, I was very, very surprised to see how he was. Because I've seen him. A lot of everybody's seen how his histrionics. But this, for me, it can't be right for Ten Hag and the team he's trying to build.
Yeah, and we've seen it before. I mean, he does like to wave his arms around in this position here. He's obviously playing in a position, Righty, that he's not used to playing. We pick him up here again. Yeah. He plays on the left, he plays on the right. But Trent Alexander-Arnold running off him.
He's got to track
not tracking back.
Look, he's not even looking. Look, he's not tracking. Now he's all of a sudden he's realised it's too late. Look, he's no energy, nothing. The captain, nothing to try and get himself into a situation where he can help his team or anything. He's not done anything. He's still not reacted.
But he does react, Righty.
Now
he puts in a real sprint here. Look at this one.
Look at that. Look.
When the ball's dead.
That is
to the referee.
I can't honestly. That is laughable. Laughable. I don't know what to say about it. That's the captain of Man United. He's got more energy to run, to moan at the referee and get back to help his teammates. This is what I was thinking. Wow, it seems like it's a bit of a Bruno bashing when you're listening to it. But when you look and analyse it, this guy is he's honestly, he's not helped himself at all with this performance.
Well, really, it was Ten Hag that was doing the bashing, because he was the person that was saying bad attitudes, unprofessional, not running back. So we've gone through the game and looked at all the areas where there was no tracking back, and of course a lot of them were Fernandez. There were a few of them were Anthony as well.
Yep.
In this situation, you look at Anthony challenging of him. Look at the reaction of all the people around, really, jogging back, walking, jogging, Liverpool sprinting.
And that's what, you know, and the thing about it is, again, this is when Liverpool was like smelled blood, and you know, you got a Man United side that, you know, they look like they're there for the taking, and they were. What this again? Look at this
reaction
right.
here.
Watch his reaction.
Fernandez.
Right, look. I can't, honestly, I just feel that you look in that Man United dressing room, and it doesn't seem to me that there's anyone in there that can.
I was just about to say, if that was your teammate.
Yeah, but the thing is that we wouldn't have a teammate like that. I don't think we'd have a player like that in our dressing room, because that player it's not good to have that guy in there because of the influence he's got and the fact that he's constantly moaning, he's not working. That wouldn't happen. That wouldn't happen. I'm not one of those players who want to talk about back in our day. That wouldn't happen back in our day, simply because a player like that would not get to the levels where he's now putting all that kind of histrionics on one of the biggest games in English football, and it's there for everyone to see. He's totally out of order.
The thing is, you can get away with it against certain teams, but you cannot go to Anfield. I mean, Paul Scholes was with us yesterday talking about the game, and he was worried before the ball was kicked. Before the first ball was kicked, he was saying, not sure that Manchester United are treating Liverpool with enough respect here with the team selection. And then if you start carrying players that aren't going to run back, then you are in trouble.
Yeah. And just to put it into perspective, Manchester United's joint heaviest defeat, and the other three when they conceded 7 in the 1920s and the 1930s. 92 years since they've been beaten like that. Any fear that there could be a hangover and it might derail them a little bit from what they've got to this season?
I think it could act as a wake-up call. Really. Yes. They've been going on a really good run. They're grinding out results. I said before the game yesterday, I don't think they're playing unbelievable football, but they're winning games. And they're not going to go from here right up to there in one foul swoop. So they're winning nicely, but that might have been a wake-up call.
I think what we saw there was, in games I've seen with United in the last couple of games, they have conceded chances, but people haven't taken them. Yesterday, Liverpool took them, and what I think that Ten Hag will see more than anything else is a couple of players there that he can say, I didn't like what I saw from you. That's what I think you'll get out of that.
Very interesting. Manchester United next in action in the Europa League, at home to Real Betis, and then in the
Perhaps from Manchester United. But before we do, let's listen to what Erik Ten Hag, the Manchester United manager, had to say about it.
I'm surprised, because I have seen the last weeks, months, a team what is resilient, what is determined, what is really had a winning attitude. Second half, we hadn't a winning attitude at all. We didn't stick to the plan, we lose our heads, and we didn't do our jobs. And the defense transition, and you know how good they are in transition, but we're just not running with our opponents. We didn't track back, and that's really unprofessional.
Well, unprofessional is the word. No footballer likes to be labelled as being unprofessional, Glenn. Did you think at 3-0 down, Manchester United were?
I think they lost their emotions as a team. I think this particular team was continental players in there. There's a lot of South Americans in there at this moment in time, which is fantastic when things are going well. I think emotionally, at 2-0, 3-0, they felt the game was over and they lost their heads. They didn't have someone that was going to pull them together like in yesteryear might have been Ince or Keane. They didn't have that sort of player in there. Casemiro, I don't know how good his English is. He's the sort of player that could do it. For me, unprofessional, yeah, they were unprofessional, but they lost their emotions in this game. And that's when they lost their focus and their mentality, and it all just went out the window. They were Jekyll and Hyde from first half to second, without any shadow of a doubt. And I looking at the game as it was unfolding, I'm saying, you've lost the plot here. You've lost the plot. Emotionally, they were all over the place. They could have been sent off, a couple of them, very easily. And I think that's the sort of arena and Anfield, Manchester United, Liverpool, that's where they would learn a lot.
Well, let's take a look at, well, certainly the fourth goal we'll start with. It came from a Manchester United corner. I think maybe they were still feeling that they were just about in the game. If they get the next goal, maybe, but they left themselves completely unexposed. And just want to highlight these two players, Garnacho and Anthony on the edge of the penalty area. The reason you're on the edge of the penalty area is, yes, to make sure if anything comes out, you're in positions to pick up the second ball, get shots away or maybe, but the other reason is to make sure the opposition can't start a counter-attack, Glenn.
Absolutely. That's a more important position than you would imagine. I used to say to players, you know when you see cricketers, when they walk in, they start walking, don't they? Mm-hmm. They're walking in and the ball's being bowled. They're on the move. They're on their toes. I used to say to my players, go deeper. End up where you are there, but be on the move.
There and be on the move.
So you're walking in like a cricketer does, in the covers.
Yeah.
Looking for that ball. Now you're on the front foot, you're moving, and that for me worked a lot. So, but your job there really is to stop the counter.
Yeah.
To make sure you recycle the ball or actually put it back into the penalty area by hook or by crook. That's your job. If you're lucky enough that it comes out and you get a shot in, that's the second phase. That has got to be one. That ball's come out of the Liverpool. Look at the amount of Liverpool defenders in the penalty area, and that's their job. They've got to go. One of them's got to go and win that and be strong. Let's have a look if we play it.
Yeah.
But if they're on the move on the run, they actually jump higher than that. Salah just knocks Garnacho off the ball quite easily there.
I mean, that header's won, and United have, 5 players?
Yeah.
And only Mo Salah is ahead of them. And yeah, as you've just said, Anthony doesn't win this header, doesn't react to it. And look at the difference now. Look at these Liverpool players that have all run this way. Those United players, I don't think have actually moved. Maybe 3 or 4 yards. And then when you're talking about professionalism and tracking back, these two, the reaction of these two to try and influence this goal from here is frightening for me. You see those players react around them just quickly before you go on. There they are. There they are still. Here and here. They've gone from within a second to being 2 of the deepest players to being 2 of the most advanced. So Liverpool get forward. McTominay's unfortunate, I think.
Yeah, he is unfortunate. Comes off his hip there and it just falls to Salah, who finishes it with a plum. It's like on his right foot. But the reaction, the first ball, there's 2 phases to that. Go and win, do your job on the edge of the box. Yep. Go and win the ball. Be strong enough. He should have been blocking Salah off. Garnacho, win the ball, keep it recycled. And then the second is the reaction, and I think that's where they're unprofessional, if you like, in the sense of how they haven't got back into a deeper position.
Yeah, I mean, and this goal, concede a set piece. You actually defend the first part okay, but the principle is stop crosses. The header's been made. Surely somebody, and it's Marcus Rashford, is the closest here. You've got to get out and apply pressure, and if you don't, you allow the opposition an easy cross of the ball. How easily he's just got there without pressure, and then, I mean,
but again,
brilliant.
If you stop that there, look at that. If you took that ball to the corner flag and said it was a corner, that's how United and most teams, that's a zonal marking for a set play in free play. But look at Nunes, look at the space that they've got here. And all he doesn't make any clever run. He just makes a bit of movement towards the ball. Now he's on the run. He's got the momentum. He can jump above any defender in the world, really, set up like that. You're on a hide into nothing. That's why I don't like zonal from a corner. But look, he's got to run a beautiful leap. But for me, what a wonderful header. He knows the goals don't move, Leon. Mm-hmm. The goals don't move. He actually heads it off the back of his head. Brilliant goal.
It was a brilliant goal. And at this point, I mean, I don't think Ten Hag necessarily avoids any criticism, because at Anfield, when you're 3-4-0, maybe even 5-0 down, to take one of your centre-halves off. I know he was on a booking, but to move Luke Shaw into centre-half and put Malacia left-back, I think you're making that easier for a team that have momentum to score. But Liverpool just took full advantage of it.
Well, the reasons were yellow cards, and Martinez he felt was going to be sent off, so he's thinking of the next game. He's not thinking about trying to get back in this game at this stage. So why not would you not go into a back 3 and go into a back 5 and say, look, we're just not going to concede anymore. This could turn into a 7-0, which it did do. But at the end of the day, I think that's the stick or twist as a manager. When's the moment where you think we're not getting back in this game?
Yeah.
You see miracles from 45 minutes maybe, and there's certain games you can go back and blah, 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 with 20 minutes. I was involved in one in Swindon. But at the end of the day, I think if he was going to make them changes, why put Shaw in there, who I think had been booked as well? So it was a strange decision, that one, for me. If he was going to shut shop and say, this enough's enough here, put Maguire on and get a back five.
Will he learn from that?
Listen, I believe after it's the worst team to lose 7-0 against. This could be a magnificent position for the manager. I think he will use this for them now. We thought we were a good side, boys.
Yeah.
We're not. We've got to improve. If we don't put the hard work in, this is what happens in this league. And I think that's a rebound. I think you'll get a rebound from United. They might learn more from this game than Liverpool.
Yeah.
It's a funny thing to say, but I think they might actually go again from this game.
I think you're right. And, you know, Manchester United, as we said, made changes. Malacia came on into that left-back position. I've highlighted Harvey Elliott because he gets so much space without actually doing an awful lot. Sabitzer got sucked into this position, left him exposed. Malacia stays in, and suddenly, obviously, without doing anything, Harvey Elliott gets all that. Any issues with the defending from that point?
Well, that's a prime example of what I'm saying about losing your head, losing the emotion in a game as a team. They were all over the place. No communication. There just needs to be an easy shout from Shaw for the fullback to get out earlier and close down. But they were all over the place, and that's what happens when you lose focus. Look at that for a clearance from Shaw. He was having a wonderful game first half.
Yeah.
I'd sit him down today and say, look, there's your clips from the first half. There's your clips from the second. You never do that again as a professional. And he'll learn from that. He'll become a better player.
Well, you hope so, because, I mean, they won't suffer many defeats like this. I mean, even now, Malacia in this position, Salah's there, they've got a bit of possession, and he's off, leaving all this space at 6-0 down. And it's no wonder, if you keep making basic mistakes, that you keep getting punished against a team that is that is flying the way Liverpool are. And, you know, the icing on the cake for them was Bobby Firmino just announced he's about to leave Liverpool at the end of the season, scoring the 7th.
It's wonderful that he got the goal, didn't he, in front of the Kop as well. Yeah, he's been a fantastic player for Liverpool, leaving at the end of the season. But that was that little clip we showed there. United players at the time, they didn't know whether the manager's saying we're going to try and attack and still get another goal, or are we going to shut shop? That was proof of how they were playing at that moment, and the players weren't making a decision on the pitch. That has to come from the bench.
Well, they definitely weren't on the pitch. And this is, you know, when we talk about unprofessional, the first way we generally tend to look at it is how much they run. And see Liverpool's stats, they didn't change from first half to second half. United's possession didn't change, but this did. the distance that they covered first half to second half was down. Would that be something that would concern you if you were the manager?
That percentage would have been chasing the ball as well.
Yeah.
You know, it wouldn't have been making runs off the ball because we're in possession. Don't forget, you know, when we say about running, we always think it's hard work, but it's running off the ball to receive the ball that went out the window, as well as they didn't put the hard graft in. So covered distances are a little bit fast to me sometimes, but that would have been defensively having to run, so it would have been less.
Well, a humbling day for Manchester United. Let's go and talk to Leroy. Let's take a walk over, sorry, Glenn, and talk to Leroy. Maybe try and lighten the mood for everybody if you possibly can, Leroy.
Well, I can't for Man United fans. I bet Liverpool fans are going to enjoy this because it's about Mo Salah.
Yeah.
I mean, tip your hat to him. Unbelievable. 129 goals. He's a top Premier League goal scorer for Liverpool. But look at the names on there, Glenn. I thought Luis Suarez, but the minutes per goal, I think, is so impressive. He scored a goal every 132.8 minutes. I thought Suarez, Suarez scored an unbelievable amount of goals in a short space of time. He's ahead of him as well.
You know why, in my opinion, is that piece that we've seen. This Liverpool side, since Salah's been there, press high up the pitch. They win the ball in the last. When Michael was playing and Stevie G and other players there, they weren't doing that.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, any other weekend, this would be the top story. Arsenal. And got to do the winning goal because it's carnage. It